Hello collectors, and welcome to my review of NECA's Trespasser, the first kaiju to get through the breach. He's one of the first deluxe kaiju figures from NECA, and the third unique kaiju figure made by NECA overall. So let's take a look and see whether or not you should add this figure into your collection. Thankfully, collectors have no need to worry when it comes to accuracy in regards to the Pacific Rim line from NECA, given that they have access to the files used to make the characters, and it really does show with Trespasser. First, the huge fin on Trespasser's back. It's large, as you can see. There are very small grooves in it, showing attention to detail, and it's kind of pointy in some spots. Also, kind of feels a little hollow. Doesn't sound like there's anything in there. Much like the knife heads previously released, you can see the small scales all over Trespasser. You can see them here on the arms, you can see it on the chest. You can see the bumps on the legs, even all the detailing on the tail, and it looks like there was actual effort put into making this monster come to life. In a sense, you know, he's not actually living. Unlike the knife head in Series 3, at least for me, Trespasser feels rather sharp at the different spiky points on his body. Right up here, on his claws, even on his feet. So do be careful when creating battle scenes so you don't scratch your other figures. Also, of quick note, Trespasser is rather hefty. He doesn't necessarily feel all that cheap at all. Finally, for the sculpt, the head area looks like it has the most detail on Trespasser. As you can see, all of his pointy teeth, the points on his head, and the small grooves on his axe head, which has this fantastic orange wash found in all of the little grooves, as you can see here. And really, it pops out in hand. Also of note, the eyes of Trespasser look good, except for this side here, where one of the eyes, the inner one, doesn't look quite right. Looks like someone screwed up in the factory. The orange glow of his mouth is captured pretty well, as you can see here, and there's this dark orange tongue in the mouth, which really makes him look ferocious. The yellow-orange lines of Trespasser pretty much look fine, though they do look a bit chaotic, which may throw some collectors off. And unlike Knifehead in Series 3, I don't think the lines look all that dull in person, in terms of intensity. They look to be just about perfect. So no real complaints from me there. Trespasser has this brownish wash to him that's kind of hard to pick up on camera well. This is about the best I can get right here on his hand. But it does pull in some spots, and in hand it makes him look very, very gritty. It doesn't look like he's entirely clean. The back fin on Trespasser, as you probably saw earlier, has this brown base coat to it with a black spray, as you can see, and it looks pretty dang cool on camera, and looks a bit nicer in person. On camera, it looks like it's this humongous change, but in person, it's a nice gradual change. It looks a bit better. The claws and the tusks on Trespasser are painted in this glossy black paint, and to me, it looks just a little bit cheap, but it isn't a major issue to the point where I have to dock it some serious points. Just thought maybe not as bright or as glossy. However, I do have to dock it points for this QC issue, which is that red paint blob. Seriously? I don't get how that can happen. It can be fixed by me easily, but really? You gotta try to do that at the factory, man. Come on. Come on. Overall, in the sculpt and paint department, Trespasser's pretty damn groovy. No real serious complaints from me, except that small QC issue. One of the main draws to the Series 3 kaiju was absolutely the increase in size. We were finally getting kaiju that could seriously take on the Jaeger from Pacific Rim. In addition to that, the promise of increased articulation is definitely a selling point for these figures. Starting off with the head area on Trespasser, the mouth is on a hinge. Up and down, up and down, up and down. It's not exactly straight on mine. Jaw's kind of crooked, and I can't exactly fix it, but that's okay. The head is attached to the neck on a ball joint, and you can get some serious movement out of this. Woohoo! I really like it. It really makes Trespasser a very expressive figure. Moving on down, the shoulders. They are on a swivel hinge combo, so you can spin the arms around as much as you'd like. And as you can see there, you move them in and out. Both arms there. Now, the elbows. Yeah, a lot of people have been noticing this, but there's the arm straight. There it is bent. Yeah, the Series 3 kaiju pretty much have crap elbow articulation, which is a bit of a bummer considering everything else that they improved on, but that's just the hinge function. You can also get it to swivel a bit. Actually, you can get it to swivel a lot of it because you can turn it all the way around. And just to show you, the other arm, it's the same way. So it's not like one is doing something that the other can't. The hands of Trespasser are attached on a ball joint, and it's got a lot of range. Well, as much as it can. As you can see here, both hands have that. And one of the cool things about Trespasser is that his waist is on a ball joint. So you got a lot of movement there. You can get him to turn, move his head at the same time. Yeah, like I said, Trespasser is very expressive. Up next in the articulation department for Trespasser would be the smaller arms. They are attached to the body on a swivel hinge combo, so it's like a ball joint, but not. What are on ball joints, though, are the smaller hands. Pretty cool. Continuing that trend, the thighs, they are attached to the hips on a ball joint, both of them, and the knees are on a swivel hinge combo. So you can get the knees to twist as much as you'd like. And the feet are attached on ball joints. So you can get the feet to kind of spread out there. And finally, on Trespasser, the tail. It is a bendy kind. Yeah, with the wire in it. I haven't had the best of experiences, so I have a feeling it's not a matter of if it's going to break. It's more of a matter of when it's going to break. Yeah. When it's all said and done, in terms of articulation, Trespasser, I would have to say, is not only pretty much great, but it's the most articulated kaiju that NECA has tackled so far in the Pacific Rim line. Which is awesome! Exactly how big is Trespasser? Here's Trespasser with some choice releases from the SH Monster Arts line. Here's Trespasser next to some Showa Revoltech Kaiju from the Godzilla series. I wonder who'd win that fight. Here's Trespasser next to some Ultra Act releases. Staying in universe, here's Trespasser with 2 Jaeger. And a wrap size comparison up, here is Trespasser alongside the other kaiju that NECA have released from the Pacific Rim movie. As you can see, Trespasser is big, and he's got quite a bit of shelf presence. It's definitely a welcomed increase compared to the other kaiju in the line. Ah, Trespasser. Buy now, skip, or wait for a sale. Trespasser is big, and he's the best kaiju release so far. Paint and sculpt wise, he has a lot of details, and the articulation is just nice enough. The drawbacks for Trespasser include limited elbow articulation, and, really speaking, that's the only major one that should hinder someone from buying it. If you're a kaiju fan, you'll love to have this guy in your collection. Some may be a tad bit worried about getting him, because I clearly showed, right there, that the quality control isn't flawless. But for about $27, this is one badass kaiju figure. I totally recommend him to fans of Pacific Rim, the design, and those that just want a big monster to add into their collection.